Hi, welcome to today's video and thanks for joining me. Today we're going to be talking about why you might need a financial plan. Now this whole video today is going to blow your mind. That is the intention of today's video, is to absolutely shake you up, to blow your mind about what a financial plan is going to do for you. I'm sure there are things in here that you couldn't even comprehend. That's actually what a financial plan does, because most of you have probably been exposed to what some advisors are pawning off time value of money is that's the financial plan. That is not a financial plan. I'm going to blow your mind with what goes into a financial plan, what's the value in it, why you need to get one, and by the time this video is over, you're going to want to get a financial plan. And the evidence of that is in this comment, this review that I got from a recent client. And so let's look at this together. Thank you, by the way, Phil and Ann, thank you. I hope I'm making you, internet famous, YouTube famous. But they've given permission to share this. And so here we go. Amazing videos and work for us. We look forward to working with you over the next year as well. We like the portion where you tell us the maximum spending per year in the third video. It gives us lots to think about. This really puts our minds at ease with our retirement and that we can actually do it. Thanks again. We have a plan now. Wow. When I get this kind of reviews, and I get them all the time from my clients, they send me thank yous and they say, what a relief. It really makes me excited, because it's just validation that what I'm doing is right, it's correct, and it's adding value to their lives. If you're reading this now, you can see these people came to me with a certain amount of nervousness about their retirement. They're not nervous anymore. They're absolutely confident. They're excited about, in fact, they're excited about their retirement because they're saying, it gives us lots to think about. We didn't consider this and this, and now you've really opened our mind to other opportunities. That's what the financial plan does. It really removes the anxiety, removes the fear, and says, you're going to be all right, more than all right. You just have to start thinking about these things because this is the opportunities now that have been placed in front of you. Change your retirement. Expand your idea of what retirement might look like. And so that's really one of the powers behind a financial plan. And so Phil and Ann, great working with you, but let's unpack what they're talking about because you probably are not aware. When I do a financial plan for that, I have two kinds of clients. One where I do wealth management and the other one where it's just standalone service where I do a financial plan. So for those kinds of clients, I do a plan, I deliver a PDF document, and I'm skipping a whole bunch of steps getting how do we get the plan done, and I'll share the 3 steps in this video with you. You get a PDF document, both printed and email format. You get a binder with a whole bunch of stuff. I've gone into videos about the planning binder in previous videos. And then I do a video review. So if you've got one or more planning scenarios, I do a video review of each of those planning scenarios so you can rewatch it, because sometimes people forget about what we talked about and they'll say, when am I supposed to take money out of my RSP? When do I start that RSP meltdown? How much do I take out? Are we still contributing to tax-free savings accounts? When do we do whether it's a RIF meltdown, RSP meltdown, or when are we doing the downsizing event? When do we start our CPP? All those things are in the financial plan. So I do the video so that I'm telling you again, here you go, and watch it as many times as you like. And I'm also around for an entire year so that I can help you implement the plan. But if you have any financial planning questions, I'm there for you to bounce your concerns or questions off me. Let's say I'm not managing your money and you want me to do a review, no problem, do a review for you. So I'm there for an entire year to be your pseudo advisor just because I did a financial plan for you. So let's dig into the 3 simple things you need to do to get one of these amazing things done for you, okay? I've said before, most people have a contribution strategy and they don't have a withdrawal strategy. In fact, the withdrawal strategy is easily the most important part of your financial plan. You need to begin with the end in mind, not just do the contribution, because what if the contribution wasn't enough? So you got to be thinking about how much you need in a future time and how you're going to spend that, and then that'll help you with the contribution. So begin with the withdrawal strategy. So let's look at number 1. This is the first step, and it's called taking inventory. It's examining your current situation. Now your current situation is really that. I'm going to send you a document. This document is just a questionnaire, and it's going to lead you through the kind of questions we're going to be asking you. So to every area of your life And I take all that information. Some of the information that you give me may not be relevant. Like the fact that you have, maybe you decided you put like jewelry or something in there. You're not going to retire with your jewelry. You're not going to sell that. But you just were trying to fill out the form. But this is such an in-depth fact-find document that allows me to know everything you're doing today, what your income, what your assets and liabilities are, and then what your goals are. And then, so that's the first step. I got to get all the data down before I start doing any planning. Does that make sense? Of course it does. Okay, then now the next step is desired outcome. I've got everything about you. You told me everything. You told me all about your income, expenses, liabilities. You shared with me about what you'd like to achieve, you know, some of the big capital expenditures. And now you're saying, if things could go well, we would really like to do this. And so we start talking about the end in mind. Paint a picture for me about what you're planning to do in retirement. What does that look like? And so when we talk about planning, we're talking about goal-based planning, right? So we've got retirement goals. We have income goals, estate goals, savings goals, and business goals. If you're a business owner and I'm doing a business plan for you. Before we get into anything, we answer the big question, the number one question that everyone has is largely why many people get a financial plan. They want to know, will I have enough money to retire? It's the number one question. Once we answer that question and get that out of the way, then we start talking about, paint a picture about retirement. You're planning to travel, go to these great places. Is estate planning an issue for you? Like, is that one of your goals? If you have children, do you want to maximize your estate and leave a legacy behind? Do you want to put your name somewhere in a hospital or a school or a street? Maybe you don't have kids, so that's not an issue for you. So you're not really thinking about what your estate looks like. So I need to know what that goal is, if it's part of your goal at all. Now, the thing that goes into a financial plan is not just, you know, will you have enough money? A lot of people are surprised when I tell them, tell me about these things. And they all start saying, wow, okay, so financial plan is more than just time value of money. So look at some of the expenses and goals that some people have given me. They want to help pay for the wedding of their young children. Times are really expensive for young people right now, and so the parents want to help contribute to the wedding. They want to save for the retirement for their kids to go to university or some kind of education. They also want to put money aside to travel. So this could be one-off travel things where they say, we're going to take our kids, our adult kids and grandkids, we're going to go to Florida, take them to Disney, or we're just going to go somewhere nice, somewhere warm because the weather sucks and we want to get out of this place. And that might be in addition to living abroad. We want to live 4 months or 3 months somewhere. Can we afford to live in Japan? Can we afford to live in Florida? Like, give us some insight as to if we can afford this $30,000 to spend in addition to the $15,000 that we're going to spend going these one-off trips. By the way, you're going to be in retirement for almost 30 years, most of you, and that means that you're probably going to buy a car maybe twice. You're going to get into a new car. So where does that fit into your plan, and when do you pay for that? Do you just take it in one shot, or do you have some kind of savings strategy where we're going to say, okay, we're going to put money from here to here to here, and then we're going to withdraw the money? So part of that goes into some of those videos where I've talked about, you know, 3 buckets, the 3-bucket strategy where you draw down, you have cash in one account, and you have 2 other buckets for the different goals. So here's a good example where you're going to have maybe a car every 7 years of retirement, depending on how often you want a new car. If you're 30 years in retirement, something's probably going to get fixed or repaired in that house. You might say, well, our goal is not to downsize. Our goal is to stay in here as long as possible. So it's time to renovate. We want a new kitchen, or we want a new bathroom, or we're getting older, so we got to change things, so it's going to be easier for us to move around. So we need to make renovations to the house to make it so that we can live in this house into our golden years. And then helping the kids out. One of the, almost in every plan I've done where the couple has kids, they want to be able to give some cash to those kids ahead of their passing, so it's not part of their estate plan, because it's so darn hard to get into houses right now. It's so expensive to get into a house. The incomes haven't gone up as much as the houses have, so they're saying, look, can you build it into our plan that we're actually going to give some money to our kids? and how do we do that. So this is a really good example of some of the planning goals that goes into a financial plan. And so we're actually sharing with the client in their assets, where we say, here's where this money is going to go towards this goal and how we're saving for it and how we're actually funding it. So that actually goes into the plan itself. I bet you didn't know that that goes into a financial plan. I'm sure you thought about, do we have enough money to retire? And that was like the biggie. The biggest one is how you actually manage your money over 30 years. Okay, and the last, or the third one, there's actually four areas here, is strategy. Let's talk about developing a plan, putting the pieces together so that you actually have a financial plan. It's not hard to do. It just takes some time. It doesn't involve crazy formulas. It's just you and I talking. Like right now, you're watching a video on getting a financial plan, but it's actually very much the same. If you live somewhere else in Canada, I'm in Ontario, and you want to call me up and say, can we do a financial plan? We're going to be doing this over Zoom, right? So a lot of the information we'll share virtually, but if you're local, then it might be the case where I'm actually coming to see you and we're sitting face to face. But it involves you and I talking quite normally about your goals, about your fears, about your wishes, and all the things that you have that could make that happen. And then we start to put all the pieces together, and eventually we come to a financial plan. It's not complicated. We talk about phased income. You might want to have a financial plan that says, give me more money in the first decade and less money in the next decade, and less money in the when I'm older, like in my late 80s. So if you wanted a phased income financial plan, no problem. If you want me to give you and I do this for everyone actually, where I show phased income, and then I show what is the maximum you could get out of your portfolio, absolute maximum every single year, not phased, just what's the maximum, and let you decide how you're going to spend the money. So it depends on how you want the information given to you. So I'm happy to give either both ways or just one way. There's no problem. So let's look at just a few things, the planning scenarios and some of the things that go into a financial plan that I think is going to blow your mind. We're going to talk about your deposit schedule. So if you're near retirement, maybe you're 10 years away from retirement, we're going to be talking about, should you still continue to deposit, X number of dollars into an RSP and a tax-free savings account? Should you stop that? Should you start doing more? We're going to talk about, is that enough? Is it too much? And because we're doing the planning, we can say, if you keep doing this, this is what's going to happen. And will that create another problem for us? So we talk about your deposit schedule, then we talk about a withdrawal schedule, how we're going to take the money out of your accounts to pay for your lifestyle expenses, and out of which accounts in which sequence. When do we start CPP? Do we start it early? Do we defer? Is there an opportunity for us to do an RSP meltdown? If you have a lot of money in your RSP, chances are, if you look at a RIF schedule is the money that comes from an RSP, you turn it into RIF, and then it becomes income for you. Chances are, if you've got over $800,000 in an RSP, you're not going to spend it all on a RIF. You're going to actually die with money left behind in your RIF. So we talk about, is there an opportunity to do an RSP meltdown to try to lower that balance so you're not leaving too much behind? And then, is estate maximization, is that one of your goals? So those are just some of the things that we talk about. There happen to be some of the biggest things we talk about, but I want to make sure you were aware those were the idea. Now, the last part about a financial plan is measurement. You're going to need to track your progress through using a financial plan, and to make sure you need to make any adjustments along the way. This is not difficult to do. It just means that you're talking to your advisor and you're saying, hey, on every review, whenever you do an annual review with your advisor, it shouldn't just be about the portfolio review. If you have an advisor that just does money management and doesn't talk to you about a financial plan, you're not getting the full value of their expertise. You need somebody that can do both, or you go to somebody else to do the planning. That's where you call me up and say, can you do a financial plan? So we're looking at what's changed in your life. Is something significantly changed from the time that you got a financial plan that would really, really change your financial plan? So what is the financial change that occurred in your life? Like you got married, or you got divorced, or you had kids and we didn't actually plan on that because you didn't think you were ever going to get married, like that kind of thing. And people get married and they say, we're going to be married forever, but then divorces, you know. I saw a stat today that 47% of all marriages in Canada fail. So, you know, maybe you thought you were going to be married forever and now you're divorced. Now, what does that do for you? You've lost a job. You thought you were secure and you're not. You're out of a job. What did that do to your financial plan? Something came up where you had an opportunity to buy a cottage or buy a property in the US or buy a rental property. You never ever thought you were going to get into it, but man, it was just like a deal you couldn't pass on. You just had to do it. I hope that you talk to your advisor and say, this just came in my lap. Can I do it? Is this possible? What does the financial plan say? So that's part of the reason why you want a financial plan, to answer that question. Unexpected expenses. You know, something happens like let's say a natural disaster, and it totally does stuff to your house or your car, or, you know, just prevents everybody from working, that kind of thing, like COVID, for instance, and you ended up having to take on expenses, change your house around so that you could actually work from your house. These are unexpected expenses. And illness. Did you know that over 50% of the people don't retire at the age that they thought they retire because there's an illness, a disability? They're not able to continue to work. And about a quarter of the population retires early because they have to care for a spouse that had to retire because of an illness. So those are kind of things that nobody really talks about in financial plans, is like, what would happen if you lost your job? What would happen if you got ill? What would that do for your plan? Those are the kind of questions you want to ask the person who's doing a financial plan, because you want to know, is this thing solid if I end up losing my job or I get an illness? What's the backup plan? Well, thanks for joining me in today's video. I really enjoyed sharing this information with you. You know, financial planning and getting a financial plan is one of the cornerstones of what I preach in every video that we do. So I hope you enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed giving this information to you. If you did like this video, smash that like button and share the video with everybody you think needs to see this. And again, thanks for taking the time to see this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Be well.